Hello, this is Henry Harris, and welcome to the Weekly Spark. This week's Spark is inspired by a conversation I had with the director of Guard Your Eyes. Guard Your Eyes is the leading Jewish program in the world that assists people in finding freedom from internet addictions. And what struck me was that he shared that even with all the sophisticated and comprehensive resources on the site, one of the greatest benefits that people gain is simply from going to the site and seeing how common this challenge and this problem is. You know, from the forums and from the testimonials and the background, they just see that unfortunately there are a lot of folks dealing with this, dealing with the challenge of the internet. And what it does, he explained, is that it slows them down, and it helps them to humanize and to normalize the circumstance they're in. As opposed to feeling that they're dealing with the end of the world, they feel that they're dealing with a challenge, and it's human, and they can deal with it. And it reminds me of a story I like to call Adam and Chava's first night on planet Earth. We know that Adam and Chava were created on Erev Shabbos, on Friday afternoon, and they make their mistake on Friday afternoon, and then the sun sets, and darkness starts to descend as night falls. And Adam looks around at the darkness, and he says, "Oy li, woe is to me that I've destroyed the world. The world is literally ending." So he and Chava spend the night fasting and crying and beseeching God for mercy, and then guess what? The morning comes and the sun rises, and Adam looks around and he realizes, wait a second, minhagu shel olam hi. This is the way of the world. That the sun sets and darkness falls, and then it rises and light returns, and that's kind of normal. Now, aside from the insight that he had about the cosmology, I think on a deeper level, what he understood is that that's how human beings operate. That there is that it's part of the human experience to have a perception that is compromised and that can get dark. Which means to say that Adam understood that more than the darkness was an indication of the world ending, the darkness was an indication of his own normal, limited perception. His perception became compromised. He couldn't see that there was still a sun, but he couldn't see it. And so it just calmed him down, and he realized, okay, we made a mistake, and we want to address it. But it looked different to him. It just looked very different. And I think that's exactly what these people are finding when they go to this Guard Your Eyes site, and they realize, wow, human beings are dealing with this. There's a normalness, there's a humanness to this, that it's not a stigma, it's not the end of the world. Because as much as we want to be responsible and do good and repair mistakes that we make, I can assure you that it's impossible to do that from a state of terror. It just doesn't work. We do not know how to act responsibly, insightfully, and with wisdom from a terrorized state. And minhagu shel olam is that human beings lose their bearings. We don't see what we don't see, so that our experience of terror is in fact more of a reflection of our limited perception than a nature of reality. And knowing that is minhagu shel olam, that's human. That is the human experience. That is the normal experience. That's what allows us to take a breath, to recognize that there are issues and things to be responsible and deal with, and yet to recognize that the end of the world is never an actual scenario to be dealing with. Good Shabbos.